the effort was great. I thought the low lights or the rough patches was more decision-based, not effort-based. And we can live with some of that stuff. We had some new combinations and new lineups out there tonight. And that can be unique when you're almost a third way through the season. So we had to exhibit some patience, and I thought our effort carried us through some of those stretches.
Were those new lineups by design?
By health availability. So we just are getting into a rhythm with that stuff.
Looked like Chris was in some pain there before he hit that three in overtime. Did you guys know what was wrong with him? Was it just a stinger? Or?
I'm not sure. Something with his hand, I think. You just saw him kind of grabbing that hand. He needed a quick one, so we made a quick sub, but obviously he came back and finished the game.
That speak a little to either his toughness, both mental toughness and physical toughness, that he comes back in and hits basically the biggest shot of the game, or the final shot of the game at least.
Yeah, I'm sure, though, if you went back and tracked it, he's got a few of those. But yes, I do agree.
Kelvin's performance tonight, getting him back and having him play actually a decent amount of minutes in overtime too, for him to kind of make his way back and play a lot of time.
Yeah, I think he's the epitome of what I was saying earlier, just about the effort and energy. I think there was a couple of decisions, a couple of plays he may have wanted back, but there's no substitute for that. And it's infectious, it's contagious, and it makes the guy next to you want to get the job done.
Well, speaking of those different combinations, Devin back in the starting lineup, how do you think he looked alongside those guys for the first time this season?
I thought he looked good. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was solid. Yeah, it's just going to be something you need reps, right? That's the first time. It's pretty crazy. We've had the whole perimeter available for a game. And we didn't have it for camp either. So that's the first time those guys have started a game, a competitive game. And I thought they did a good job.
That's the lineup you would pop envisioned back in July, August, right? I mean, those five guys.
It wasn't a foregone conclusion, but I would say that was the house favorite at the casino for sure.
We're 7 questions in. I haven't asked about the guy who scored 42. He just kind of took over from the minute you put him back in with about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Is that just becoming old hat for him to be able to do what he does in those crunch time situations?
I thought he imposed his will in a positive way tonight. You can see it physically just because of his sheer size when he's demonstrative, playing with conviction, where he is going to get the ball to the spots that he wants to get to, and nothing's going to stop him. And I think there was a couple times where he probably wanted a possession back where he didn't do that. And as he continues to show those possessions, I think the goal will be just to continue to string those and be more consistent in those areas. But he was tremendous when we needed him to be.
I was about to ask, do you see him becoming more assertive in those moments? Like when he does have those opportunities to get inside or get to his spots, do you see him making like more of a concerted effort to get there?
I think so. I think I'm doing a better job of putting him in spots. I think his teammates are doing a better job of spacing around him. I think he's a little stronger, better shape. He had some off and on again stuff we've talked about all year. I think it's all starting to come together a little bit for him. And the cherry on top is when he does put the mentality on it, it's tough to stop.
You talked about you putting him in certain spots at the risk of trying to be too much of a coach here. Was that him at the free throw lines, posting up in the high post? It looked like he did that more today than he has in a long time.
Yeah, they switched a lot too, and sometimes he'll go to just spots where there's space, right? I think that's where you have a player of his caliber. Anytime you get them the ball in a spot, in space, you take that, and then the defense has to determine if they're going to play him straight up or put 2 on the basketball. And he got to a couple of those spots you just named, and I thought he did a really good job of being patient and deliberate and making the right decision more than not.
The possession near the end of overtime where Vic got on the floor to get the loose ball, we couldn't tell who called the timeout. Like who got the timeout there?
I have no idea either. Right? Yeah, there's a lot of noise, and I'm just glad we got it.
From a leadership standpoint, where have you seen Wembanyama come this season in the first overtime game of the year to kind of take over in that time?
He's exhibited traits of a leader before he got here, the way he's been brought up by his family and the way he conducts himself. He's somebody that you want people to emulate, and he's emulating older guys on the team that we want to emulate, and that's, again, credit to Brian Wright and in the front office for continuing to acquire the right types of people.
Hey, Coach, I'm sorry if you talked about this already, but Chris Paul struggled early on, but then fourth quarter overtime, he just, comes through kind of, I guess probably like what maybe y'all expect.
Yeah. I think good players in this league have short memories, and it allows them to make big plays when you need them most, no matter what's happened prior.
Trae Young had 23 and 16, but could you talk about how difficult Jeremy made things for him to do?
He was tremendous. Someone who has the ball as much as he does and as talented as he is. I don't know how you don't stop him from getting stats or making plays. There wasn't a ton of times where it felt like he got loose or we had breakdowns in coverages or he was wide open. He made great plays, and he's a great player, and unfortunately we expected it, but I thought we made him work for it.
Thank you.